Okay, so we've got another deep dive lined up, and this one's a little different, Ray. We're diving into some song lyrics this time.
Yeah. I mean, music can be incredibly powerful, can it? Tapping into those deep emotions, those universal truths. And these lyrics, the scales of justice, blind, they say, they definitely hit on something really profound.
For sure. It's like everyone's got a story, right? About a time they felt cheated, like the system failed them, or someone they love. And this song, it gets into all of that. But before we go there, I kind of want to start with the obvious, like this whole idea of justice. It's a biggie, right? Where do we even begin?
Well, you're right. It is a huge topic. And this song, it jumps right in with this classic image of the scales of justice, blindfolded, impartial. It's supposed to represent fairness, equality for everyone.
Which is a nice idea, right? But then the song hits you with, but earthly courts, they often sway. And it's like, boom, reality check.
Exactly. It's that disconnect that's so powerful. Like, we have this ideal in our heads, this vision of perfect justice, but then you look at the world and, well, things aren't always fair, are they?
No kidding. It reminds me of, those old stories about the Greek gods. They had
Yeah.
Themis, right?
Mhm.
Goddess of justice, always depicted with a blindfold, weighing the evidence,
Mm.
supposed to be completely unbiased.
Right. But the thing is, even back then in ancient Greece, their legal systems were far from perfect. If you were wealthy and connected, you had a much better chance of getting a favorable outcome. Sound familiar?
It's like, let's saw change, right? Some things never change. But that's what makes this song so fascinating, I think, because it doesn't just wallow in that cynicism. There's this shift, this glimmer of hope that sneaks in, especially when you get to the chorus.
Oh, absolutely. That's where we're introduced to this idea of divine justice. Yahweh watches from above, his scales of justice tempered with love. It suggests that even when earthly systems fail, there's a higher power who sees all, judges fairly, and will ultimately set things right.
Which, it's interesting. I was raised pretty secular, right? Not really a religious upbringing. But even I can appreciate the power of that idea, that there's some kind of cosmic accountability, even if we don't see it here and now.
It's a powerful concept, for sure, and it's woven into so many cultures and belief systems throughout history.
And I think it speaks to a very human need, like this innate desire for balance, for things to even out in the end. Like even little kids understand this.
Oh, totally. I'm remembering this time. I think my nephew was maybe 4 or 5, and he was playing with a friend, and the friend took his toy. And my nephew just looked at him and said, God's watching you.
No way.
Uh,
That's
I
hilarious.
know, right? Even at that age, there's this understanding that, you might be able to get away with something in the moment, but eventually someone or something is going to call you out on it.
And this song, it goes there. Like it doesn't just talk about this abstract idea of justice. It gets real specific.
Yeah.
Like verses 2, 3, and 4, they're brutal. Innocent people being locked away, the guilty buying their way out, pleas for mercy being ignored. It's like a gut punch.
I agree. And I think that's the point, right? It's bringing these injustices into sharp focus. These aren't just abstract concepts anymore. They're real people, real lives being impacted by flawed systems.
Exactly. And then you get to that last verse,
Mm.
and there's this, I don't know, it feels almost like a call to action, but not in a go out and protest kind of way, more like
Mm.
a reminder to trust in something bigger, something beyond our immediate understanding.
I think you're spot on. It encourages a certain degree of faith, of patience. It's saying, look, earthly justice might be flawed. It might not always deliver the outcomes we want. But divine justice, well, that's a different story. That operates on it.
Which is a pretty powerful message when you think about it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the cynicism, the hope, the harsh realities of injustice. But for the folks listening, what's the takeaway here? Why do you think these lyrics, in particular, struck a nerve with our listener? What makes this so universal?
Well, I think ultimately it comes down to this. As human beings, we crave fairness. We have this deep-seated need to believe that in the end, things will be made right. And when we see injustice in the world, when we experience it ourselves, it can be incredibly disheartening. This song, whether you're religious or not, it speaks to that longing for balance, for accountability. It reminds us that even when things seem hopeless, there's a bigger picture at play. And that, I think, is a message that resonates deeply with all of us.
Absolutely. And, it makes you wonder, even if those scales of justice don't always balance things out here, in this life, what if that desire for a just world, that yearning for fairness, what if that's a driving force for us to treat and create that world ourselves? What if that hope, that belief, is what motivates us to fight for a better future, to push for a more just society here and now?
That's a powerful thought to end on.
Right. Something to chew on for sure.